Hello.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. It's been a while. When we saw each other when we got here, it was,
I don't know. It was like beginning of June or something. I think it was beginning of June.
I think so.
Yeah. What wine
Yeah.
do you have for us today?
I don't know. I like the bottle.
I like the bottle too. It's very pretty.
I
Yeah.
just walked into the store and it's a beautiful day. So,
This is Revelation by Goose Ridge. Oh, that's why. It's pretty.
Goose Ridge.
That's why. They have a beautiful tasting room in Leavenworth.
Yes. We'll see how this one is.
Okay.
They have amazing ciders,
Oh, I haven't had their cider.
really good ciders. Can you get it?
Maybe not. Oh,
There you go. You were opening it funny.
I always open it funny. Don't you know this about me?
Amazing. They have amazing ciders, and every single tasting room that I've been into with them have had phenomenal people.
Yep.
I did not like their wines.
Oh,
So
okay. They have a beautiful Cabernet Sauvignon that has like this very nice orange note to it that
interesting.
I love. Love. So
Cheers.
cheers. Very pale, like very pale pink.
I can drink this rosé.
It looks like it has a little bit of effervescence. Teeny tiny amount.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like caramel notes in it. Doesn't it? Like it's
I'm getting mainly fruity.
okay.
Yeah, I'm not getting caramel, but
A little bit of caramel. It's kind of funny. I like it.
I can drink that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was like $14.
It's not bad. I love this. It's such like an empowering label. Right?
Yes.
This powder white suit. I feel like that this woman is wearing, and she's got like flowers for her head. I'm like, yeah, let's go.
I feel like this would be an awesome like a woman business gift of something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Love that.
I was looking at a couple ones,
beautiful.
one that I had before, and I was like,
yeah,
I think I like that. So
I do. Yeah,
that's one. It's rosé. It's a rosé season.
Rosé all day, baby.
Yeah, I was at Plain Cellars.
Oh,
Bought some. Love their rosé.
Okay.
I should have brought
rosé. Actually,
it's really good.
Okay.
Yeah. I was there last weekend. They do summer concert series on Saturdays.
Yep.
So we went there and
love it.
Had some wine and had a great time.
Perfect.
Yeah. So their rosé is really good.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we did a market update. I feel like I've had a lot of people, always have a lot of people asking like, so what's rates going to do? What's this? And I've been saying, I'm like, I feel like in general, I tend to be able to give you a general expectation, right, of what should happen. I have no flipping idea. Like
I'm like, I haven't had an idea for 2.5 years.
No, but I feel like even more right now, we're in a really weird time period with like inflation.
We have a major election.
We have turmoil in that election.
Correct.
We have policies from both sides that are going to affect inflation in different ways.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure historically, when a Republican gets elected, rates tend to come down. However, a lot of Trump's policies that he's proposing with like tariffs and all of that are very inflationary. So it's very much like and
then Biden is talking about capping rent.
Yep.
Which that can affect real estate.
Yes, that can affect.
So it's not that we're getting political.
Yeah, it's not being political. It's
there are things that are happening, policies that are being talked about in place that will have an effect on rates and how that is going to affect buyers, refinancing, even when it comes to selling your property, obviously like how slow or how fast that process can be. But I think refinances is an interesting topic right now because I think there's going to be a lot more of them in the next 6 to 12 months.
I would agree.
Because the Fed finally announced they're going to reduce it by potentially 200 basis points.
So what the Feds announce of what they're quote going to do affects the market because people react to that. But if they don't, like they haven't done anything yet. We're kind of looking at September right now for potentially the first rate cut, which if you would have talked to me a month or two ago, I probably would say, I'm hoping for one in December, maybe but
so it's sooner than you expected.
Yes. But it's later than what we expected going into this year. Just inflation numbers are starting to come down, which is good. Unemployment and pressure in the job market is impacting that whole market, that whole sector. So kind of looking at September as a first potential one in this year.
Okay.
I saw an article that was like 3 rate cuts this year. I'm gonna be happy with one.
Okay.
I think that.
How much do you think that's going to affect current mortgage rates? I know you don't like to put a quote out there. Like, is there a general, like a quarter point that you think it'll affect it? Half a point? Like,
that's really hard to say because it's not just because as I know, the Fed's cutting their rate doesn't directly impact mortgage rates.
Right.
What it is about is where people are investing.
Okay.
So sometimes when they make the announcement to cut, we don't see any change because investors are making moves leading up to it.
Sure.
So sometimes they make the announcement, there's no change. Other times we have a swing. So I don't have anywhere to put a point on like how much it would affect. So, but when that does happen, we'll start to see that.
Got it.
Maybe we'll see another one in December, but more than likely it'll just carry over into the next year. So
cool.
And when rates come down, like we've talked about on both the buying and selling, as rates come down, more buyers are going to be flooding the market.
Driving prices up.
Yep. Driving prices up. So that's, kind of reiterating the fact that what's the cost of waiting?
Yep.
And that is a tool that I have. I have a program that can kind of like look at appreciation, expected appreciation, all of that. So whether you have people or anyone listening, if they want to kind of look at that, those are, general numbers that I can run.
And I think this right now, like this talking about refinances, I think it's going to be pivotal for some people because they thought in the last 2 years when rates more than doubled, especially early 2022 rates were great, wonderful, threes.
Yep.
They started coming down 4, 5, 6, 7, we hit 8s and something.
Yes.
But like this is going to be pivotal for the people that have bought in the last 24 months because they are eligible to refi.
Yep.
They have more than likely increased their equity, which means their loan to value is going to be better. So they could get rid of that private mortgage insurance, maybe if they put a lower down payment down. But then I guess talk to us about when does it make sense? So if you've bought in the last 2 years, when does it make sense to refi?
Yeah. So there's 2 different types of refinances. One will fully answer this question. One's another kind of topic. So you have your rate and term refinance and your cash out refinance.
Rate and term refi.
Rate and term. So you're adjusting your rate and your term.
Okay.
And then a cash out refinance. So the people that have purchased in the last couple of years, when rates come down, they'll be looking at a rate and term refinance. So my general rule is if you see a 0.5% decrease in your rate is where it'll make sense to refinance.
And that's on not your APR. That's going to be on
your interest. Yeah. Okay. So APR is a calculation of the fees that are associated with it. So it accounts for all of that. But yeah, the actual interest rate
if you were at let's say 6.75. It makes sense if a rate is 6.25.
Correct.
To
generally speaking.
Okay.
If you're able to take off your mortgage insurance, well, maybe you can do it a little bit lower because you have an extra $100, $200 being removed. If you have a really low loan amount, it may be a little bit more than that 0.5% because your payment doesn't move as much.
Gotcha. So if someone is doing, let's say, the rate is half a point lower, great. What does that whole refi process look like, and how long does that take?
Yeah. So generally about 30 days still.
Okay.
It's very similar to a purchase process. You make the decision to refinance, we get disclosures out.
You fill out the loan application.
You fill out the loan application, we lock in your rate, we got to verify income and assets, or
look at your credit.
Yeah, look at credit. We don't always have to look at assets. Because if equity allows, we can roll all of the cost into the loan. So you don't actually have to bring anything in at closing.
That's great.
And if there's no money in at closing, we don't need to verify assets.
Oh, great. Excellent.
So it's a lot of times just income, depending on loan to value ratio and what type of loan you had on your original purchase. Sometimes we can get an appraisal waiver.
Great.
Which is always great, which in that case
saves you $1,000.
Yeah, probably not that high.
Like six to 800 for
7 to 800. Okay. Yeah. I mean, back in 2020, 2021, we were seeing appraisals cost that much.
Yeah, mine costs $1,400.
Yep.
3 years.
And that's appraisers.
Yeah.
Being busy.
It's supply and demand.
Yeah. Supply and demand. Yeah. Right now, I would say between $700 and $900.
That's better.
And so we'll either get that appraisal waiver or we'll get an appraisal done and we'll push to closing.
Great.
So I generally say 30 days, because turn times are typically a little bit longer on refinances, at least at my bank, because we will always prioritize purchases.
Yep. Gotta protect that earnest money.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
So we typically will see that refinances are a day or two longer than purchases, in a normal busyness market. So they're a very simple process. Like I said, if equity allows, we do collect your basic closing costs, which again are the all the third parties and services that are involved with getting the loan done. So the cost to obtain the loan. And then we do have to collect escrow prepaids again if you're escrowing your account, your mortgage.
Which you'll more than likely after your refi closes get a refund.
Exactly. Yeah. So you'll get a refund.
Insurance and
you'll get
your insurance.
Yeah, you'll get a refund for whatever being held in that. And in your wherever your current service or whatever's being held, you'll get that refund. And then you skip a payment.
Yeah.
So if you were to start and if you were to close at the end of July, your first mortgage payment wouldn't be till September. The same thing with purchase, but when you already own the home and you're not like having rent to counteract, you truly have a month of.
So it's almost like you allocate that 1 month of not having to make a payment kind of towards the cost of
correct.
The refund.
So that's where, a lot of
I say that depends on how much your payment was.
Yes. Yeah. But a lot of the time, especially with where rates are right now and payments are right now, that's going to pretty close to cover your closing cost. I look at escrow prepaids kind of being a wash because you get that refund.
Right.
And then having that skip payment with the closing costs, that's going to be pretty close to a wash.
Makes sense.
If an appraisal does need to get done, that is paid out of pocket. So that would be the one thing that would be paid out of pocket. But yeah, generally 0.5 point decrease in rate is kind of the target. I will always run numbers for people. All I really need is a mortgage statement and a general credit score to at least get an initial baseline, and then obviously subject to a full credit pull and everything.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then talk about cash out refi.
Yeah. So the other type of refinance is cash out refinance. Yeah. That is when you're pulling cash out of the equity in your home. Those are still a great option right now for certain people. We see people who have kind of got over their head in credit card debt, have multiple car loans, are having a hard time making ends meet because of multiple different liabilities.
Talk about inflation, making our grocery bill crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's more to live now. And
correct.
I think, a cash out refi is a great option for, you don't necessarily want to sell a property, but let's say that the equity has grown significantly over the last, however many years.
Yep.
Reallocating that cash to get you in a much safer feeling monthly budget,
Yes.
I think could be a really great thing for people.
Yeah. And because it's like, okay, maybe you have a 3.5% on your mortgage right now. That's great. And yeah, you don't want to give that up. But if you're paying 25% on
Credit cards,
$40,000 worth of credit card, you're paying 8% on a car loan, and you have, you know, $3,000 worth of other liabilities. Well, maybe we can cash out refinance, pay those all off, and maybe your mortgage payment goes up $2,500. You're still cash flowing $500. Like your payment goes up $2,500. So if you're at 2,000 and it goes up and it's 4,500, you're still, it's going up 2,500, but you're paying off $3,000 a month. So you're cash flowing $500 more.
Okay.
So either you just have $500 more to spend a month, or you allocate that $500 to continue to pay down that mortgage, and you're going to probably pay it off quicker than what your 3.5% was. So those are very general numbers. I've seen people save $1,000, $1,500 a month. So huge life-changing things.
We did a cash out refi. Our first one was, I think it was 2016. So like 2 years after we bought our house. And we were able to pay off my student loans completely. I had about, I think, $25,000 in student loans. And at that time, you know, the student loan rates were just like anywhere between, I think, 9 and 12%. And it wasn't like hurting us to like, you know, pay that. But it's like, man, I would love to just like, the rates were so good. Like it actually reduced our monthly payment at that time to do that and pay off my student loans.
And I guess student loans, you can write off the interest. But for like credit cards and car loans, like now that it's in your mortgage, you can write off the interest.
Right.
So it's like,
can't do that with credit. Can't do that with a car.
So there's a lot of benefit. And I think people are so scared to give up their 3.5%.
I get it.
And I get it. But if you're not, if you don't have any debt, great. Don't touch that 3.5%. But if you have multiple layers of other debt, look at it. All I would need is a mortgage statement, liability statement, so I know balances and monthly payments, and I can run some numbers, run some reports on what that would look like.
The other thing too is like, even if the rate is higher than you would like right now, with these reports coming out, could you refi again?
Exactly.
12 to 18.
And that's something, and so
that's something again. And then your equity increases, your value increases.
And how rates work is cash out refinances are going to have worse rates than rate and term refinances. So if you are like, okay, I want to pay this off, you can do a cash out refinance now, rates come down. Well, then you
term next year.
And then you get a rate and term next year, so you benefit, versus waiting for a year, paying all that interest on everything else, getting to do a cash out refinance, you're still going to be higher than that rate and term refinance.
The other thing too is if you're going to pull out cash, you know, waiting until retirement to, you know, cash that out, and then God knows what that tax rate's going to be on that income that property produced. Like, you're probably safer to pull that out now than wait a long time, sell, God knows what the world's going to be, the economy's going to be.
Exactly.
But again, like that, you know, your interest, even if your payment might increase, you can write off that interest, which is a huge benefit. For taxes.
I see people also do cash out refinances for purchasing additional homes. You know, you'll want to look at either a HELOC, loan, or a cash out refinance. But I have some clients that are looking to purchase a second home. They have a large amount of cash to almost purchase it cash, but they need a couple $100,000. And so instead of doing a normal purchase loan on a second home, we're looking at doing a cash out refinance on their primary, because rates are going to be better on a primary cash out versus a second home or investment home purchase.
That makes sense. They could always refi that later.
Exactly.
Like, if you buy it with cash, great. Well, then a year, turn around.
Exactly. So then, yeah, you have your HELOCs and HELOANs, which are essentially a refinance in a sense as well. But if you take one of those out now and look to refinance in a year, that next refinance is still going to be considered a cash out.
Okay.
If the second mortgage that you obtain is not a purchase money second, so if you did not purchase the home with that second, some people do 80-10-10s.
Yep.
So 10% down of their own funds and then 10% of a HELOC. If it's not a purchase money second, it is considered a cash out refinance when you pay that off and consolidate them.
Interesting.
Yep. So, it all comes down to where rates are and what really makes sense, but that's also kind of a factor to consider in comparison to the cash out now. So, my general thing with refinances is just ask the questions. Let's run the numbers. If they make sense, great. Right now, I would definitely say you want to make sure that if you look to refinance today, you want to make sure that you make up the cost within a year, because the likelihood of being able to refinance in a year is high.
Yeah.
At a time that it's a normal, not a decreasing anticipation, I'd say a couple years. Like, how long do you think you're going to be on the home? Make sure you pay it off in a couple years.
Yeah.
Right now, it would very much be like, let's make sure you can recoup in a year. And let's run the numbers. Let's look at it, see if it makes sense. And if it doesn't, we'll just kind of stay in touch until it does.
Yeah. Denae and I are very low key with people in that way. Like, if it makes sense, great. If it doesn't, then we support you.
And I'll tell you if it doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you if it kind of makes sense. So you can make the decision for what makes the most sense for you.
Knowledge is power.
Yes. Because sometimes it's like, okay, maybe it'll take a year and a half to pay off, but having that extra $200 a month makes a ton of sense. So each person is a little bit different. So
sense. Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else people should know?
I don't think so. I think each refinance is pretty unique. They're similar to a purchase, but they're a little less stressful.
Is there a scenario where you wouldn't qualify for a refi?
Absolutely.
Like, what's kind of the most common thing that you would see, not qualifying? Like, a spouse decides not to work anymore, so the income doesn't work.
Yep. Or in a position that they're just looking to do a rate and term, and they take out too much debt.
Got it.
And then sometimes there's not enough equity to pay off that debt.
Got it.
So you're kind of in this catch-22.
Got it. Okay. But you're not going to know unless
you look at everything.
You look at it.
Yeah.
So okay, that's good.
And like I said earlier, like, I can run basic high-level numbers with very minimal information to just get a general idea without having to do the full application. Obviously, all the numbers will be subject to a full application.
Absolutely.
But it'll kind of give people an idea with that.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
I think we're planning on doing a series of FAQs at one point.
Yep.
So just kind of probably super short episodes of addressing very, very specific questions.
Topics. Yep. I think September.
Yeah, probably take up the summer.
That feels good.
That feels right. Maybe we'll pop in for a market update or something like that, depending on what happens between now and then. But I mean, it's almost the end of July. September's gonna come quick.
Right. Summer has been flying by.
Well,
has the year. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's crazy how quickly it's gone by. So
there's the light. There's the light. All right. Say we're done.
Cheers.